Hello and welcome to Navigating Autism for Families, brought to you by the Autism Foundation of Oklahoma. The role of the Autism Foundation of Oklahoma is to enhance the capacity of systems, individuals, and communities across the state so they may effectively serve Oklahomans with autism spectrum disorder and their families. This is accomplished through increased awareness and understanding, training, advocacy, and research and program development. This training is brought to you in part by the Oklahoma Clearinghouse for Early Childhood Success and the Oklahoma Partnership for School Readiness. The mission of the Autism Foundation of Oklahoma is to improve the lives of Oklahomans with autism and their families across the lifespan. This is achieved through 4 program areas. The first, advocacy and community engagement. AFO hosts monthly adult socials around the OKC and Tulsa areas. AFO also hosts the annual Autism Advocacy Day at the state capitol held in April. The next area, children and youth. With partnerships like OPSR, AFO is training statewide child care providers on inclusive practices for their students with autism, offers parenting classes on neurodiversity in their children, and also classes on neurodiversity for foster families. The third area, health and safety. AFO addresses health and safety of Oklahoma's autistic population through Project Safe Stops, wellness retreats for caregivers, and healthcare provider training for inclusive practices. And the final area, transition and employment. Workforce professional development for inclusive hiring practices, reasonable accommodations, and creating inclusive environments are held often. Beginning a partnership with SDE for employer training focused on transition-aged youth has also been achieved. For more information, please refer to our website. You're here today because you want to better understand autism and how to support your child. Whether you have a diagnosis, are in the evaluation process, or just have questions, this training is here to guide you. First, let's talk about why autism is an important topic. According to the CDC, about 1 in 31 children is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder, or ASD. That means autism is common and you are not alone in this journey. It's also important to know that autism occurs across all racial, ethnic, and socioeconomic groups. It doesn't just affect one type of family or community. Autistic children can be found in every part of society. That's why understanding autism and increasing support for all children is so important. Most importantly, the signs of autism often appear early in a child's development. You may have noticed differences in how your child communicates, plays, or interacts with others. Recognizing these early signs gives us the opportunity to provide support that can truly make a difference in their growth and learning. You're here today because you care about your child's future. This training is about learning, understanding, and finding practical ways to help your child thrive. In this first section, we will discuss important facts related to autism spectrum disorders in general. As we begin to explore what autism is, it's important to understand that autism is a lifelong brain-based condition. That means it's something a person is born with, and it affects how their brain processes information, communicates, and experiences the world. Autism is not something a person outgrows, and it's not caused by parenting. It's a part of how someone's brain works, and it shapes how they interact with others, how they learn, and how they respond to their environment. One of the key things to know about autism is that it exists on a spectrum, which means there's a wide range of abilities. Some autistic children may speak fluently, while others communicate in different ways, like gestures or using pictures or devices. Some may need a lot of support, while others may be very independent in certain areas but need help in others. Every autistic person is unique, and their strengths and challenges may change over time. That's why it's so important to learn about your child as an individual, not just through a diagnosis. Understanding autism as lifelong and brain-based helps us shift from trying to fix a child to focusing on how we can support them, build on their strengths, and help them thrive in their own way. One of the biggest questions parents often have is, how is autism diagnosed? It's important to know that there is no single medical test, like blood test or scan, that can diagnose autism. Instead, the process relies on gathering information from several sources and looking at the whole picture of your child's development. Here's what the process usually involves. First, professionals will observe your child's behavior. They will look at how your child communicates, interacts, plays, and responds to people and the environment around them. There are several different structured tools that can help professionals conduct these types of observations. They'll also collect important medical and developmental history. This may include pregnancy and birth information, early developmental milestones, health concerns, and anything else that helps build a full understanding of your child's background. Next, they may conduct more formal assessments. These are standardized tools or checklists that help professionals identify patterns of behavior related to autism. Sometimes multiple professionals work together as a team. This might include a pediatrician, psychologist, speech-language pathologist, occupational therapist, and other specialists. It's important to know that no single factor leads to an autism diagnosis. Instead, it's a combination of signs and behaviors across different areas of development that help guide the decision. And while autism can sometimes be reliably diagnosed as early as 18 months or even younger, some children may not receive the diagnosis until later, especially if the signs are more subtle or if support hasn't been sought. If you're in the process of seeking answers, know that early identification matters, but so does support at any age. Getting answers is the first step to understanding how to help your child grow and succeed. Now that we've covered some of the foundational information about autism, we're going to move forward and talk about how you can recognize the characteristics of autism in young children. As we go through this section, it's important to remember that while we're focusing on signs commonly associated with autism spectrum disorder, many of these characteristics can also be present in other developmental delays or conditions. That's why it's so important not to jump to conclusions, but instead use what you notice as a starting point for your conversation and support. If you see things that concern you, the best step is to talk with your child's pediatrician, a developmental specialist, or an early intervention provider. They can help guide you through what you're seeing and whether further evaluation is needed. Recognizing signs early gives you the chance to better understand your child's needs and begin getting the right supports in place. So let's take a closer look at the key characteristics that might show up in young children with autism. When looking at the characteristics of autism, it's helpful to know that most signs fall into two main areas. The first area is social communication and interaction. This includes how a child connects with others, how they communicate, use gestures, make eye contact, play with others, and respond socially. Children with autism may have differences in how they engage with people and how they express their thoughts, needs, or emotions. The second area is repetitive and/or rigid behaviors. This includes things like repeating movements or sounds, having strong interests in specific topics, needing routines to stay the same, or becoming upset with changes. These behaviors are often a way for children with autism to feel comforted or manage how they experience the world around them. We'll take a closer look at each of these areas so you can better understand what to look for and how it might show up in your own child's daily life. Let's start with social communication and interaction. Let's take a moment to talk about social connection in children with autism, something that many families begin to notice early on. Children with autism often communicate and connect in different ways, and these differences can affect how they relate to the people around them. For example, some children might talk passionately about a favorite topic like dinosaurs, trains, or video games, but they may not show interest in everyday small talk or back and forth conversations. Others may seem more focused on toys or objects than people, preferring to line up cars or explore how something works rather than joining group play. You might also notice differences in nonverbal communication. A child may not use typical gestures like pointing or waving, or they might pull an adult towards something they want instead of using words. Some children may engage in stimming behaviors, like flapping their hands, rocking, or even while talking, which can sometimes distract or confuse others who don't understand why they do it. Because of these communication differences, children with autism can struggle to build friendships, not because they don't want to connect, but because their way of connecting isn't always recognized or understood by others. Sadly, this can lead to children being left out, shunned, or misunderstood, which can make them feel isolated even from a young age. That's why it's so important to help others, including peers, teachers, and family members, understand these differences and support connection in ways that make sense for the child. When we understand how children with autism express themselves socially, we can create more opportunities for them to build relationships and truly feel seen and valued. Now let's take a look at a short video that shows a comparison between two children who are about the same age. In the first clip, you'll see a child who demonstrates typical social communication skills. In the second clip, you'll notice some of the social differences that are often seen in children with autism. As you watch, pay attention to how each child uses eye contact, gestures, and responds to others. These examples can help make the characteristics we've been talking about easier to recognize in real-life situations.
Okay, tomato and cinnamon roll.
A cinnamon roll. You know what? I think that might be an onion to go in your hamburger. A hot dog? Yummy.
The bun.
It's a bun.
And another one.
Wow.
We're making our breakfast.
Are we going to have hot dogs for breakfast?
All of these things that I'm getting out.
Oh, okay.
What's in here?
I don't know.
Maybe something else. Ah!
What is it?
What is it? Oh!
Oh. Does it look like cookies?
Uh-huh.
Let's clear an area so we can work and spread our things out. Okay. Now let's see. You know what I think this is supposed to be, Hannah?
What?
I think this is supposed to be pizza. See, this is the pizza sauce that goes on the pizza. And then this is cheese and
Oh, no.
pepperoni.
We're gonna eat. What I'm gonna eat, I have to grab. What are these for?
What do you say?
Those are for grabbing things off the grill. So if you take this, if you're fixing your hamburger, you're cooking it up on the grill right here. You can't touch it with your hands because it's hot. So you have to use the tongs and grab it off.
Too big.
Too big?
I'll grab it from the side.
That's right. It looks just like a bit. But I think it's just the top. Was that the top? Ryan, what else do we have in here? What's this?
This is a cup.
A cup? Oh, you're right. There are cups in there. Oh, there's a plate for you. What is this, Ryan?
A sandwich.
What kind of sandwich? What is that called? You have those at school? Is that hamburger? What is it when you put this on it? Then what do you call it? Are you just showing her the bun? Mmm. Does it taste good? Do you want a hot dog? Oh. Are you eating some hamburger? Some cheeseburger? Okay. Oh, you know what, Ryan? This has different things you can put on it. What would you like to put on it? You want to put pickles? Oh, you got tomato. How about a pickle? Mmm, yummy. You showing Miss Julie?
Ooh, yummy hamburger.
Do you have hamburgers at school?
Yep.
Oh, what is this? What is that?
Lettuce.
Lettuce. Wow. You like lettuce? Spence, you want another hot dog? Oh, look. It came out. Came out of the bun. You want one too? You both want hot dogs? Oh. Oh, neat. These are like tongs. You can pick it up. Just showing Miss Julie how you eat.
That looks good.
Hey, you know what, Ryan? We can use this as a grill that we can cook on. Oh, Spencer's cutting. You gonna cut up the pickles?
A grill.
Grill, that's what we cook this on. See the marks? Here, you can. Oh, Spencer's eating it now. Oh, that's hot. Oh, you gonna grill the tomato?
Yeah.
Here, turn it over with the spatula. Flip it. Can you flip it? Here, let me help you a little bit. Like this. You get it under there and then you flip it. And I'll help, because that's big.
See it?
Did you eat the onion? Oh, you want to see? See? There we go.
Okay. Can you eat some more? Oh, you know what? I didn't give us cups. Do you want a cup to drink? Spence, can you drink out of that? Mmm. Drink. Take it off the grill.
Now that we've explored social communication, let's take a look at another key area of autism: repetitive and rigid behaviors. These behaviors may look different from child to child, and while they might seem unusual at first, they often have a very meaningful purpose. In fact, for many autistic children, these behaviors are ways of expressing themselves, finding comfort, or bringing a sense of order to their world. Some children may engage in repetitive movements, like hand flapping, rocking, or spinning. Others may repeat words or phrases they've heard before, sometimes known as echolalia or scripting, which can usually be a step toward learning to use language in new ways. You might also notice that your child is deeply focused on specific topics or routines. They may talk excitedly about their favorite interest again and again, or feel upset when a familiar routine is disrupted. These preferences reflect a strong memory, attention to detail, and a desire for predictability, qualities that can become incredible strengths with the right support. Some children play in highly organized and different ways, like lining up toys, spinning wheels, or sorting objects by color or shape. This kind of play might look different, but it's often a sign of how your child learns, explores, and engages with the world around them. When we understand that these behaviors are not just habits, but meaningful ways of coping, learning, and communicating, we can begin to respond with curiosity, patience, and support. Let's take a moment now to watch a short video showing what some of these behaviors look like. In the first part of the video, you'll see a typically developing child engaging in play. In the second part, you'll see a child who is showing characteristics of autism, particularly around repetitive and rigid behaviors. As you watch, pay attention to how the children interact with their environment, how they play, and how they respond to changes or transitions. This comparison can help you better recognize what these behaviors might look like in real time.
You feed the birdie? You feed the birdie? I'm hungry.
Uh-oh.
Oh. You want to give him a hug? Oh, sweet boy. Give him a hug. I'm a big baby. For me? Oh, for Big Bird. He likes that. That's yummy. More. What's up for Mom, too? Some breakfast?
Say that's the second one.
Eggs? Yeah, that's eggs.
Yeah.
Eggs. Yeah. Stir up the eggs. Is it hot? Is it hot? And hot, please? Oh, hot. Hot. Oh, you're pouring it in. Very nice. Thank you. Thank you. Is the food in there now? It is. Oh, blow it is hot. It's hot. It's hot. Oh. It's hot.
You can kind of imitate what he's doing if you want. And then put the bottle in the spoon. Squirt it out. drink.
Can you please break it, Papa? No, he will do that sometimes with his sister stalls to give him the bottle. Oh, you want my bottle?
You want both bottles.
He loves them. He loves my bottles.
Yummy! No, you're gonna push that away. I think they fit in that way. Yeah, can I see the bottles for a minute? Can I have them?
I should have turned that before you put them out of the bag. Sorry. There we go. Spoon. Spoon in a bowl and feed it to Big Bird. Give him a bite.
Yummy.
Give him a bite. You gonna take a bite? Oh no, you don't take the spoon.
Hey, you have two. 1, 2. But your daughter caught them, didn't she? The cold shit?
Yeah. He got like a respiratory infection when she got it, but first one the newest died. This is style.
As we move forward, let's take a moment to talk about two important ideas: neurodiversity and self-determination. Neurodiversity is the understanding that neurological differences like autism are natural variations in the human brain, not problems to be fixed. Just like we all have different personalities, learning styles, and strengths, people also have different ways of thinking, communicating, and experiencing the world. For children with autism, recognizing and honoring these differences helps shift our focus from what's wrong to what's strong. That brings us to self-determination. Self-determination means helping children make choices, express preferences, and have a voice in their own lives, even from a young age. When we support neurodiversity and self-determination together, we're not just helping children cope, we're helping them thrive. We're building their confidence, respecting their identity, and preparing them for a future where they are seen, heard, and valued just as they are. Now let's take a moment to listen to Dr. McEachron, a leading voice in the neurodiversity movement, as she shares her powerful and encouraging perspective. She explains that for a long time, neurological differences like autism and ADHD have been viewed mainly through the medical model as disorders or disabilities that need to be fixed. But Dr. McEachron invites us to see things differently.
Neurological differences like autism or ADHD are considered to be dysfunctional disorders and disabilities under the medical model of mental health. There's too little attention given to enabling people with neurologically different minds to be accepted for themselves, to discover and celebrate their strengths, and to find a place in society that values their differences. When most of us think of diversity, we think of things like race or sexual orientation, but there's a different kind of diversity you might not know about: neurodiversity. Neurodiversity is the concept that neurological differences among people should be recognized and respected. I believe it's time for this new social movement, the neurodiversity movement, to take off. Neurodiversity is a part of our genetics and of our evolution as a species. The genes for autism and ADHD are not errors, but rather are the result of variations in the human genome that have and will continue to have advantages for society. One of the genes associated with ADHD, the DRD4 gene, is known as the novelty-seeking gene. It arrived on the human evolutionary scene over 10,000 years ago. Genes associated with autism also go back more than 10,000 years. Research suggests that genetic variants linked to autism might have been positively selected during human evolution because they contributed to exceptional memory skills, heightened perception in vision, taste, and smell, a precise eye for detail, and an enhanced understanding of systems such as animal behavior. These characteristics likely remain in the gene pool today because they are still advantageous. As a psychologist advising the parents of differently wired kids, I tell parents they have a choice between trying to change the child to fit the environment and changing the environment to fit the child. There are many different microhabitats and subcultures in our world. For an individual with autism or ADHD, finding success on their own terms may come from discovering the particular niche that fits best, the niche that allows their strengths to shine and their challenges to be minimized. Individuals with ADHD tend to thrive in situations of rapid change, variety, and that reward creativity and out-of-the-box thinking. A career as a comedian, detective, entrepreneur, journalist, actor, EMT technician, or photographer could be. I'm not saying that having autism or ADHD is easy. And I don't mean to downplay the real suffering that can be caused by having a neurodevelopmental condition, disability, or difference. But it's also time the world sees the beauty and value in brain differences. Neurodiversity might be every bit as crucial for the human race as biodiversity is for life in general. My vision is for a neurodiversity tolerant and accepting society where differences are celebrated for the depth and dimension they bring to the human condition. I want children whose brains are wired differently to be encouraged to find their niche instead of changing to fit other people's ideas of normal. Diversity in every sense makes our world a better place, and people who think differently are a huge part of that.
When we shift to seeing autism as a part of normal variation, we also must do so in our language and how we talk about others. The language we use shapes how people understand autism. By avoiding ableist language, families, educators, researchers, and professionals can help create a more accepting and inclusive society for autistic individuals. When we use more accepting and respectful language, we're not just being kind, we're helping others see that the characteristics of autism are a natural part of who a child is, not something to fear or fix. This kind of language encourages us to focus on understanding the child rather than trying to change them. It helps us recognize their unique way of thinking, communicating, and interacting with the world. By choosing words that highlight strengths and celebrate differences, we also model something incredibly important for our children. That being different is not only okay, it's something to be proud of. Over time, this perspective becomes an essential life skill for children. It helps build their self-worth, encourages confidence, and allows them to advocate for themselves as they grow. In short, how we talk about autism can shape how a child sees themselves, and that's a powerful opportunity to build acceptance from the very beginning. As parents, the way we talk about our children matters, not just to others, but to our children themselves. Our words help shape how they see themselves and how others respond to them. To support this, we're going to explore 4 helpful areas you can use when describing your child: strengths, traits, needs, and differences. Looking at all 4 of these areas together gives a more complete picture. It allows us to honor who our child is, not just what they need help with, but also what makes them unique, capable, and wonderfully themselves. In the next few slides, we'll take a closer look at each area and how you can use them to talk about and advocate for your child in a way that's both respectful and empowering. Let's start with strengths. The unique abilities your child has should be seen, supported, and celebrated. Every child has strengths, even if they don't always show up in traditional ways. When we take time to notice what a child enjoys, what they're good at, and what brings them comfort or joy, we're building a foundation for learning, connection, and confidence. Ask yourself, what does my child enjoy doing? What activities do they naturally gravitate toward? Do they always return to a specific area or person in a classroom or at home? That tells us where they feel safe or successful. What are they able to do on their own, and how do they communicate their needs, even if it's not through words? When we recognize and talk about these strengths, we're not just giving our child praise, we're giving them the message that who they are is enough and that their abilities matter. Let's keep that mindset as we move on to the next area, traits. Next, let's talk about traits. These are the characteristics often associated with an autism diagnosis. Traits are not good or bad. They're simply part of how your child experiences and moves through the world. Some traits you might notice include social differences, like how your child interacts with others or prefers time alone. They might have a special interest or a topic or activity they focus on deeply and enthusiastically. Your child may engage in diverse play, like lining up objects, exploring textures, or playing in a way that's different from other children, but still meaningful to them. You might also see communication differences, whether that's using gestures instead of words, repeating phrases, or communicating in ways that are unique to your child. Many autistic children also show focused attention. They can concentrate intensely on something they care about, which can be a powerful strength. And finally, there may be sensory differences, like being sensitive to certain sounds, textures, or lights, or seeking out sensory input in specific ways. Understanding and talking about these traits helps others see your child through a lens of acceptance, not judgment. These traits are not problems to fix, they're simply part of who your child is. Now let's move on to the third area, needs. Every child has needs. Some are more visible than others, but all children require different types of support to help them grow, learn, and feel safe. For children with autism, needs may vary depending on their primary and secondary challenges, and those needs can change over time. When thinking about your child's needs, it can be helpful to consider a few key areas: communication and interaction. Does your child need support expressing themselves or understanding others? Social, emotional, and mental health. How do they manage emotions, stress, or transitions? Do they need help building friendships or coping with change? Cognition and learning. What helps them understand new information? Do they benefit from repetition, visual supports, or hands-on activities? Physical and sensory needs. Are there physical or sensory challenges that affect their daily routine? What kind of environment helps them feel calm and focused? Identifying your child's needs isn't about labeling what's wrong. It's about recognizing where support can make a positive difference. When we understand and speak up about these needs, we help create environments where our children can truly thrive. Next, we'll explore the final area, differences, and how they can help us see the whole child. Now let's look at the final area we use when talking about our children, differences. Just like all children have unique strengths and needs, they also have their own ways of doing things. And that's something to be embraced, not corrected. When we talk about differences, we're really asking, how does my child do things differently? What are their communication preferences? Do they prefer using signs, gestures, pictures, or devices instead of spoken words? What are their social preferences? Do they enjoy parallel play, one-on-one time, or spending time with others in quieter ways? Are there physical preferences, like needing movement breaks, avoiding certain textures, or seeking out specific sensory experiences? And how do they handle emotional regulation? What helps them feel calm, safe, or supported when they're overwhelmed? Recognizing and honoring these differences helps us better understand the whole child, not in comparison to others, but for who they truly are. It also models for others that there is more than one way to communicate, connect, and succeed. By seeing and supporting these differences, we send the message that our children don't need to fit in, they just need to be understood and valued for who they are. As we've just explored, truly seeing our children means embracing their strengths, traits, needs, and differences by truly understanding how they communicate, play, regulate, and experience the world. But honoring those differences isn't just about how we talk about our children, it's also about how we advocate for them. Being neuroaffirming in our view of autism means building programs and goals that honor the whole child, not just what they need help with. And at the center of this is something called self-determination. Self-determination means having the right to make choices for oneself, to have a say in what matters, how things are done, and how one's day is experienced. And here's something important to know. A child's sense of self begins to develop between 19 months and 3 years. That's when children start to express independence, preferences, and individuality. This is the perfect time to begin supporting those early signs of self-awareness by helping children make meaningful choices and feel heard and respected. Being self-determined doesn't mean doing everything alone. It means learning the skills that promote independence, even in small steps like choosing between 2 snacks, picking a toy, or showing how they want to communicate. These are the building blocks of confidence and autonomy. So when we're planning goals, therapies, or daily routines, we must ask, what does the child enjoy? How do they want to communicate? What makes them feel safe and successful? And how can we support them having more control over their day and their life? When we include self-determination and how we advocate for and support autistic children, we're not just helping them grow, we're showing them that their voice matters and that who they are is not only accepted, but respected and celebrated. This is what being neuroaffirming really means. Creating space for every child to be themselves, make choices, and discover their unique path to independence and belonging. Now that we've learned more about autism and explored your child's strengths, traits, needs, and differences, the next step is thinking about how to put that understanding into action. One powerful way to do that is by creating a support plan. A support plan helps you organize what your child needs to thrive at home, at school, and in the community. It's a way to make sure everyone involved in your child's life is on the same page and working together. A good support plan is individualized. It reflects your child's unique personality and preferences. Not just what they struggle with, but what motivates and empowers them. We'll walk through a few simple examples of how to start building this plan in the following slides. Think of it as a living document, one that can grow and change as your child grows. These one-page documents give a quick snapshot of your child, their strengths, communication style, preferences, and support needs, all in one place. It's a great way to help teachers, therapists, caregivers, and even family members understand what matters most about your child right from the start. It can include things like what your child likes, how they communicate, what helps them feel calm and successful, what they are good at, and how they learn. And most importantly, what makes them who they are. This document is a clear, positive, and personalized way to describe your child to others. It's especially helpful during transitions, like starting a new school, meeting a new therapist, or joining a new group, because it helps others see your child as a whole person, not just through the lens of a diagnosis. Another helpful tool you can use is a reinforcer inventory. This is simply a list of your child's preferences, likes, and dislikes. Things they enjoy, things that motivate them, and things they might avoid. This can include favorite toys, activities, snacks, people, places, or even sensory experiences they love or dislike. Sharing this information helps others, like teachers, therapists, or caregivers, better connect with your child and use what they enjoy to encourage learning, communication, and engagement. It's a great way to make sure your child's day is filled with things that are meaningful and motivating for them. Now that we've talked about what autism can look like and how to better understand your child's strengths, traits, needs, and differences, let's shift our focus to what you can do at home to support your child in everyday life. Parenting a child with autism can come with unique challenges, but also so many meaningful moments of growth, connection, and success. We're going to walk through 5 practical tips that can make a real difference in your daily routines. These strategies are designed to help you better understand your child, reduce stress, and build more positive interactions at home. We'll cover understanding behavior, looking at behavior as communication, not just something to manage, using visual supports to increase understanding and predictability, understanding sensory processing and how it impacts your child's comfort and focus, supporting your child during behavior escalation, what to do in the moment and how to prevent future challenges, and finally connecting to helpful resources so you know you're not alone and have access to the support you need. These tips are meant to be flexible and family-friendly, and you can choose what works best for your child and your home. Let's take a closer look at the first one, understanding behavior. When it comes to behavior, one of the most helpful ways to understand it is by thinking of it like an iceberg. What we see on the surface, things like meltdowns, refusal, running away, or hitting, are just the tip of the iceberg. These are the outward behaviors we notice most, but they don't tell the whole story. Underneath the surface, there's a lot more going on. This is where we find the real reasons behind the behavior. Things like difficulty with communication, sensory overwhelm, anxiety, frustration, fatigue, hunger, or need for more structure. Just like an iceberg, the biggest and most important parts are hidden beneath the surface. When we focus only on stopping the behavior, we might miss what the child is really trying to tell us. But when we take time to look underneath, to understand the why, we can respond in a way that's more compassionate, more effective, and more supportive for the child. So instead of asking, how do I stop this behavior? We can start asking, what is my child trying to communicate? And what might be going on beneath the surface? That shift in perspective makes all the difference. As we discussed, behavior is often just the tip of the iceberg. Now let's go a little deeper and talk about why the behavior happens. All behavior, whether it's positive or challenging, serves a purpose. In fact, most behaviors can be linked to one of 4 common functions. Understanding these can help us respond more effectively and meet our child's needs in more supportive ways. One way that behavior can present is to gain access. Sometimes a child behaves a certain way to get something they want. This could be a favorite toy, a snack, or even time on a screen. Another could be to gain attention. A child may act out or repeat a behavior to get someone's attention, whether it's from a parent, sibling, or peer. This isn't always about being disruptive. Sometimes it's just their way of saying, notice me, I need you. It could be to avoid or escape a situation. If something is overwhelming, confusing, or unpleasant, a child might try to get away from it. This could be a task that feels too hard, a noisy environment, or a transition they weren't prepared for. And finally, to fulfill a sensory need. Some behaviors help a child regulate their sensory system. They may spin, rock, hum, or even seek deep pressure because it helps them feel calm or alert. These behaviors are often automatic and not always something the child is fully aware of. When we can identify the function behind the behavior, we're better able to support our child by teaching new skills, offering alternatives, or adjusting the environment to meet their needs. It's not about controlling the behavior, it's about understanding what the child is trying to tell us and responding with empathy and intention. It's important to remember that behavior is communication. Long before a child can speak, they are already communicating with us through crying, reaching, pointing, pulling away, or even having a meltdown. Behavior is how children express their wants, needs, thoughts, and feelings when they may not yet have the words. So instead of seeing behavior as bad or something to stop, we can start asking, what is my child trying to tell me? That simple shift can help us better understand what they need and how we can support them. We all communicate in two main ways, receptively and expressively. Receptive communication is how we take in information, how we understand or receive messages. Children do this by hearing words or sounds, looking at pictures, observing and imitating what others do. Expressive communication is how we send or share messages with others. Individuals might do this by using gestures like pointing or waving, making vocalizations or sounds, saying words, or using pictures or communication devices, or even through behavior like leading you by the hand or pushing something away or engaging in challenging behaviors. All of these are valid and important ways of communicating. The key is recognizing and supporting how your child communicates right now, while also helping them build new ways to express themselves over time. Now let's take a moment to watch a short video that went viral a few years ago. A sweet and funny interaction between a father and his toddler son. At first glance, it might just look like two people talking, but what makes this video so special is that it shows how communication is so much more than just words. As you watch, pay close attention to the toddler's gestures, facial expressions, and turn-taking, and the way he shares attention with his dad. This is a great example of how even without clear words, children can carry on a meaningful, connected interaction. Let's take a look.
Okay. They need to work on that, right? Yes, okay. Did you understand it though? No. Okay. All right. Huh? Oh, no, not this one. This is the grand finale of this. Yeah, that's the last one. That's what I was wondering. I don't know what they're gonna do next season because they did some stuff this time. Exactly what I was thinking. Oh yeah. Right. Don't bring that again. You know what I'm saying? Don't do the same stuff. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was thinking that. Yeah. Yeah. Like go somewhere else with that, but don't bring it here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's what I said. And then it was like, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, what in the world? But don't do it here. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Really? I thought the same thing. We think a lot alike, huh? Oh, that's crazy. Right.
One of the most helpful things we can do for our children is to support how they understand what we're saying. Sometimes when children struggle to follow directions or respond, it's not that they aren't listening. It might be that our communication is just too complex or too fast. Here are a few simple ways to help. Simplify your communication. Use short, clear phrases. Instead of saying, let's clean up and get ready to go because we're going to be late, you might say, clean up, time to go. The next, tell them what to do. Focus on clear, positive directions. Say walk instead of don't run. Give time to respond. After you give a direction, pause. Children with processing differences often need a few extra seconds to take in what you said and decide what to do. And finally, use visuals. Pictures, gestures, or showing an object can help your child understand your message more easily, especially when words are hard to process. These strategies can be incredibly helpful in meeting your child where they are and make communication more clear, calm, and successful for both of you. Now that we've talked about helping your child understand communication, let's talk about how to support them in expressing themselves. When children can clearly express what they want or need, it reduces frustration, builds confidence, and strengthens their connection with others. Here are a few ways you can help. Teach how to make a choice. Start with simple options like, do you want juice or water? And you can hold up the objects or photos of the objects and let your child point or reach to pick. Use pointing or picture choice boards to support decision making, especially when spoken words are hard to find. Teach how to ask for help. Use clear phrases or visuals like a help cue card so your child can let you know when they're struggling. Teach how to ask for a break. Whether through a gesture, sign, word, or picture, this is a powerful way to help your child manage overwhelm and avoid meltdowns. And remember to use visuals throughout. Pictures, signs, or objects can support expressive communication, especially in moments when emotions are high or spoken words are hard to access. The goal isn't just to increase speech, it's to give your child more ways to be heard and understood by others. One helpful tool you can use to support your child and help others understand them is a visual communication profile. This one from Vanderbilt Kennedy is called the Replacement Behavior Menu. This is a simple one-page visual that gives a quick overview of how your child currently communicates, what the communication means, and how both your family and the professional team are supporting that method. It also explains how others can support it too. This profile includes how your child communicates. For example, do they reach, climb, whine, hit, scream, bang, use gestures, pictures, or to tell what they want? Do they hand you items, use a specific sound or sign to mean help or more? The next, when they do this, they want, what does it mean? It helps others understand that when your child does a certain behavior, it has a purpose and a message behind it. Then you show how you're supporting that method at home or in therapy by saying, instead, I can teach them to use a picture card, model a sign, encourage the use of device. And most importantly, how can others support this too? When they do this, I can use a visual and help them communicate more clearly and consistently. The goal is to help everyone around your child respond in ways that are supportive and respectful, reducing frustration and building more meaningful communication opportunities. Our second tip is to use visual supports, and these can be incredibly helpful for children on the autism spectrum. Many autistic children are visual learners, which means they often understand and remember things better when they can see them. Visual supports make communication more concrete and predictable, which can reduce stress and increase understanding. Some simple examples of visual supports include picture schedules to show what's happening next, choice boards to help your child express preferences, first-then boards to set clear expectations, or even using photos or objects to represent daily routines. These tools can help your child process information at their own pace, support independence, and reduce the need for verbal reminders. One easy and effective type of visual support is a first-then board. It helps children understand what needs to happen first and what's coming next, which can make transitions easier and reduce frustration. For example, first clean up, then play computer. Or first bathroom, then play Legos. These visuals give clear expectations and motivation by showing that something preferred is coming after a task. It's a simple way to support routines and cooperation, especially when your child knows what to expect. Now that we've talked about how helpful first-then boards can be, let's take a look at a short video from Autism Speaks that shows what this looks like in action. In this video, you'll see how to introduce and use a first-then visual to support a child through a task, starting with something that might be less preferred, followed by something motivating. As you watch, pay attention to how the adult uses clear visuals, a calm tone, and follows through with the reward. This kind of structure helps reduce anxiety, increase cooperation, and support understanding, especially for children who benefit from clear visual routines. Let's take a look.
If your child is diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder and struggles with anxiety, attention difficulties, or other challenging behavior, a First Then board can be a useful tool to clarify expectations and provide motivation in a visual way. Specifically, it lets them know they will earn something they like after completing a task that may be difficult or less preferred. A First Then board can be made with photos, drawings, objects, written words on a list, or apps on your phone. Why might a First Then board be helpful for my child? Through the use of a concrete visual structure, a First Then board is helpful in teaching children to follow directions and learn new skills. For example, if you are teaching your child to first get dressed in the morning so that they can then eat their favorite snack, seeing this on a First Then board may help them learn to get dressed more quickly. A First Then board also tells your child that you understand their frustrations with tasks that may be hard or overwhelming and have found a reward they can focus on during an activity. This can help your child have a more positive experience with those overwhelming activities, such as going to the doctor. A First Then board can also teach the idea of cause and effect. For example, I wait in line for the slide, and then I get to slide. This may lay the foundation for completing directions that have several steps or present more of a challenge, such as cleaning their room. The reward should be something motivating enough that your child is willing to work for it, rather than something they may just like. If you're having a hard time thinking of a reward, think about what they do when they have free time. Then decide how you can make that available only after the first activity, such as a favorite game, a specific snack, or time on the computer. This family is working on chores with their daughter, Annie, who had a particularly hard time vacuuming.
Annie, are you ready to vacuum?
No.
No what?
Vacuum.
Her mother created a First Then board by putting a picture of a vacuum in the first box and a picture of an iPad break in the then box. The First Then board was placed in the room where she would use the vacuum, so they can make the clear connection during the task. In order to make sure Annie learned what the First Then board was in a positive way, her mother first used it during walks, a task that she usually completed willingly and successfully. Following walks, she earned an iPad break. Her mom introduced the more difficult task of vacuuming with the help of the First Then board. When it was time for Annie to vacuum, her mom cued her with a brief verbal instruction.
Okay, Annie. First, vacuum. Then, iPad break. Right. First, vacuum. Come on.
After she got started, her mom praised Annie's progress.
Good job, Annie. One more piece.
And pointed to the First Then board again. When Annie struggled a bit, she continued to calmly prompt her through the activity and kept the focus on the task at hand.
Done.
All done.
Done, Mom.
Way to go.
Done.
Right away, her mom linked the completed task to the reward.
Okay, Annie. Good job. First vacuum. All done. Now, iPad break.
And immediately let her have the iPad.
Here's your iPad.
In order to teach the value of the First Then board, it was important that she let her have the iPad break as soon as she was done vacuuming, even though she needed help. This is to make sure she believes what is on the board and sees the value in completing the task. As vacuuming becomes easier, the first activity can transition to a more difficult goal they are working on.
Good job.
Creating a First Then board can help increase your child's independence and success across a variety of activities. Please check back in and leave us a comment to let us know how these changes are going.
Another great visual tool that you can use at home is a visual choice board. These boards show your child a set of pictures they can choose from to communicate what they want, like a snack, activity, toy, or break. Choice boards are especially effective for children with autism because they make communication more concrete and reduce the pressure of having to come up with spoken words. When children can clearly see their options, it can lead to fewer frustrations and more successful interactions. When creating a choice board, it's important to think about a few things. First, the type of image. Some children respond best to simple cartoons or drawings, while others might benefit from actual photos of real objects or people in their environment. Another thing to consider, the size of the image. Bigger images might be easier for young children or those with visual or motor challenges. For other children, smaller images may be more manageable. The key is to match the board to your child's current level of understanding and make it meaningful to them. Even just offering two choices at a time can be a big step toward more independent and confident communication. Another powerful visual support you can use at home is a visual schedule. A visual schedule shows your child what's happening next using pictures, words, or symbols. It can outline part of the day, like a morning or bedtime routine, or show the whole day in order. Visual schedules are especially helpful for children with autism because they make daily routines more predictable and easier to understand. When children can see what's coming, it reduces anxiety, increases independence, and can make transitions smoother. Instead of constantly needing verbal reminders or instructions, your child can look at the schedule and know what to expect. This builds confidence and can decrease power struggles or meltdowns during tricky times of day. The key is to keep it simple and consistent. You can use photos, line drawings, or even objects, depending on what works best for your child. And you can always adapt it to their needs and change. Using a visual schedule at home isn't just about staying organized. It's about creating a more peaceful, predictable environment where your child can feel more in control and successful. Now that we've talked about the benefits of visual schedules, let's watch another short video from Autism Speaks that shows you how to set one up and use it at home. In this video, you'll see step by step how to create a visual schedule, introduce it to your child, and use it to guide routines throughout the day. As you watch, pay attention to how the adult uses clear visuals, stays consistent, and gently supports the child in following the schedule. This is a great example of how visual supports can make everyday routines less stressful and more predictable for children with autism, and easier for families too.
Is your child having a difficult time understanding or using language? Are those difficulties causing frustration, challenging behaviors, or anxiety?
If so, a visual schedule may be able to help.
What is a visual schedule? A visual schedule shows what is going to happen throughout the day or during an activity with multiple steps. A visual schedule can be made with photos, drawings, objects, written words, apps on your phone, or lists. Why might a visual schedule be helpful?
Communicating a message both verbally and visually can help increase understanding and clarify expectations.
For children who often have a difficult time focusing on tasks, a visual schedule can also help them pay attention to important details of an activity. If they experience anxiety, rigidity, or irritability around unfamiliar situations or transitions between tasks, visual schedules can help by indicating when a certain activity will occur in a way that feels more predictable. How do I create an effective visual schedule for my child? First, decide the activities that you will put on the schedule in an order in which they should occur. Try to mix in the preferred activities with less preferred ones. The schedule can be portable, for example, on a binder, clipboard, or an app on your phone. Or it can be fixed to a permanent place, like a refrigerator or a wall. There should also be some way to show when an activity is completed, such as an all done pocket at the bottom of the schedule or by physically checking off a task in the task box. Let's take a look at a visual schedule in action. Andrew needed help completing activities after school and had a hard time transitioning between different tasks.
I really don't like, Mama, I don't know all the words in it.
That's all right, I can help you.
His mother created a visual schedule with drawings of each activity on a Velcro board. The schedule was portable so they could take it along throughout the routine. She also made sure to put a combination of enjoyable and not so enjoyable activities on the schedule. To more easily teach Andrew what the visual schedule was, Mom first used it during tasks that he usually completed willingly and successfully, like dinner and playtime. In order to give him time to decompress after a long day at school, his mom started the schedule with playtime, which was easy and fun.
All right, buddy, here's what we're gonna do this afternoon. Play, snack, homework, bath, and dinner, okay? First, we're gonna go out and play. Okay, Andrew, now it's time for snack.
Okay.
Here we go.
Because this was a more neutral activity for him, the transition from snack to homework was easier than the transition from playtime to homework would be.
All right, Andrew, now it's time to do our homework.
Homework can be hard for him, so she followed up this task with bath, which was a calming activity for him.
It's bath time, and we already did homework. It's bath time.
Great job, bud.
This was also to help provide motivation to complete homework in a timely manner. She finished the schedule with dinner time, which he enjoys. When using a schedule, his mom gave a verbal cue before each transition.
All right, Andrew, 2 more minutes. We're gonna go inside, okay?
Okay, Mama.
And used a timer to help him know when certain tasks were going to be over. When it was time for an activity on the schedule to occur, she cued him with a brief verbal instruction to help him understand that it was time to transition and pay attention as the next activity begins.
All right, Andrew, we're all done homework. Check schedule.
Bath time.
You got it. Good job, buddy.
At first, he needs prompting to use the schedule, so Mom guides his hand so he can move the pictures once he has completed the activity.
All done. Can you take this off? Good. Now we're gonna go in for snack. All right.
And calmly guides him to the next activity if he does not do so on his own.
All right, we're all done snack. Good. Now it's time for homework.
As he becomes more independent using the schedule throughout the day,
right,
she
Andrew,
praises
we're
him in a
almost back.
detailed way by saying,
Great, checking your schedule.
a visual schedule can also be used to teach flexibility when sudden changes must occur. She added variability by introducing an oops card that represents an unknown. She began by teaching this paired with a positive activity like getting ice cream as his snack.
We're gonna have an ice cream party.
And gradually used it to communicate true, unexpected changes in the schedule that may be tougher to adapt to, such as doctor's appointments. As your child gets older, a visual schedule is still important, but may look different. This young woman uses a written list on a dry erase board, and independently marks them off as she completes each step in the routine. Creating a visual schedule can help decrease your child's anxiety, irritability, and challenging behaviors while increasing independence and success. Please check back in and leave us a comment to let us know how these changes are going.
Our third tip is to consider how your child processes sensory information. Because for many children with autism, the way they experience the world through their senses can be quite different. Children with autism may be more sensitive or less sensitive to things like sound, light, touch, movement, taste, or smell. For example, a sound that seems quiet to us might feel overwhelming to your child. or they might seek out certain sensations like spinning, squeezing, chewing to feel calm and focused. These sensory differences aren't misbehaviors. They're real experiences that affect how your child feels and how they respond to their environment. By recognizing and supporting these differences, we can make home routines more comfortable and reduce stress. This might mean creating a quiet space, offering fidget tools, dimming lights, using noise-canceling headphones, or building in movement breaks throughout the day. When we support sensory needs, we help our children feel safe, regulated, and ready to learn and connect. Sensory processing is how our brain takes in and makes sense of all information from our senses, like sight, sound, touch, taste, smell, movement, and body awareness. For most people, this happens automatically, but for many children with autism, the brain processes that information differently. Some kids may be extra sensitive. Things like loud noises, bright lights, or certain textures might feel overwhelming or even painful. Other kids might be undersensitive and seek out more input, like moving a lot, touching everything, or making loud sounds because their body is craving that sensory experience. These reactions aren't bad behavior. They're a sign that your child's nervous system is working in a different way. When we understand how sensory processing works, we can better support our child's comfort, focus, and emotional regulation. As I stated before, children with autism can be either over-responsive, very sensitive, or under-responsive, less sensitive, or seeking input to different types of sensory input, and it can even vary from one sense to another. Every child is different. They might be over-responsive in one area and under-responsive in another. Observing and understanding these patterns can help us create environments and routines that better support how they feel and function in daily life. Sometimes we think of this as though individuals have different sized sensory beakers. Sometimes people have small beakers and get overwhelmed easily, usually indicating they need support, structure, or predictability. Others might have large beakers that indicate that they need a lot of sensory information in order to stay engaged or focused. Here is a visual chart that shows examples of how children with autism may be over-responsive or under-responsive across different sensory areas. Each of the different sensory areas are described, and it might surprise you to see that there are more than 5. While we often think of sound, sight, touch, smell, and taste, you might be less familiar with body awareness and movement. Body awareness is the awareness of where your body is in space. Movement refers to the type of movement through space that one enjoys or avoids, like swinging or spinning. Take a look and see if any of these look familiar to you. Every child experiences the world through their senses in their own way, and for children with autism, those experiences can be more intense or more muted than we might expect. To support sensory processing differences, the first step is to observe what your child seeks out or avoids. Notice what seems calming or overwhelming. Then you can make small adjustments. Think support, not fixing. Things like creating a quiet space, using noise-canceling headphones, offering fidget toys, or adding movement breaks throughout the day can give a child the support that they need to be successful at home, school, and in the community. Consider the type of sensory processor they are. Are they over or under responsive? And to what type of sensory information? Also, give support based on those beaker sizes. It's not about fixing the way a child experiences the world. It's about helping them feel safe, comfortable, and regulated so they can learn, connect, and enjoy their environment. To support children with sight sensitivities, you can make a few simple changes at home. Try to reduce fluorescent lighting, which can flicker or buzz in a way that's uncomfortable. Offer sunglasses or brimmed hats indoors or outside to help with bright or harsh lighting. Use blackout curtains in bedrooms or calming spaces to reduce light and help with rest. And if your child is doing homework or focused tasks, try setting up a quiet area with high dividers or walls to block out visual distractions and help them concentrate. These small adjustments can make a big difference in helping your child feel more comfortable and focused in their everyday environment. Many children with autism are especially sensitive to sound. What might seem like a normal background noise to us, like a vacuum, traffic, or a crowded room, can feel overwhelming or even painful for them. There are a few things you can do to support your child at home or in the community. Some of these ideas are shutting doors and windows when possible to reduce outside noise and create a quieter space. Prepare your child before going to noisy or crowded places by telling them what to expect and offering options like a break or a quiet space. Provide earplugs, noise-canceling headphones, or even music they enjoy through earbuds or headphones to help them block out overwhelming sounds. Or create a quiet workstation or play area that's away from doors, windows, or high-traffic areas so they can focus without distraction. By recognizing and supporting your child's sensitivity to sound, you help them feel safer, calmer, and more in control of their environment. Some children with autism are very sensitive to smells. Strong scents like perfumes, cleaning products, or even certain foods can be overwhelming and may lead to discomfort, distraction, or even physical reactions like headaches or nausea. To support your child's sensitivity to smell, be cautious with scented items in your home like candles, plug-ins, and air fresheners. Even if they seem pleasant to us, they can be too intense for a child with smell sensitivities. Avoid applying perfume, scented lotions, aftershave, or heavily scented deodorants when your child is spending close time with you. These small changes show your child that you're listening to their needs. Some children with autism are sensitive to touch as well. What feels comforting to one person, like a hug or a pat on the back, might feel overwhelming or even painful to a child with tactile sensitivities. Here are a few ways to support your child. Always approach from the front and let them know before you touch them. Surprises like hugs or tickling can be uncomfortable or distressing, even if meant in love. When possible, let your child take the lead with self-care tasks like brushing their hair or washing their face. This gives them control over how much pressure or texture they can tolerate. If certain fabrics or clothing bother them, try turning the clothes inside out or removing tags and labels. Most importantly, let your child wear clothing that feels comfortable to them. Even if it's the same outfit again and again, comfort matters more than variety. You can also gradually introduce new textures, allowing your child to explore at their own pace and without pressure. Some children with autism also experience sensitivities to taste, texture, temperature, or smell when it comes to food. These sensitivities can make eating a stressful experience for both the child and the family. Here are some ways you can support your child's relationship with food. First, don't force your child to eat or try new foods. This can increase anxiety and make mealtime even more difficult. Instead, prepare your child in advance if a meal will include a new or strong-smelling food. Letting them know what to expect gives them a sense of control. You can also experiment with small changes, like adding different flavorings, seasonings, or dips to familiar foods. Sometimes adding a new taste to a food they already like is a gentle way to expand their options. The goal is not to push or rush, but to support your child in feeling safe and comfortable at mealtimes. Body awareness can also be very difficult for some children with autism. This means they might have trouble sensing where their body is in space. This can affect how they move, how close they stand to others, or how they navigate through a room. Here are a few ways you can support your child's body awareness at home. Position furniture along the edges of a room to create open walkways. This makes it easier for your child to move around without bumping into things. Try using a weighted blanket to provide deep pressure input. Many children feel this is calming and it can help them feel more grounded in their body. Be aware though, the child's weighted blanket or weighted support should never be more than 10% of their body weight. Also, using colored tape on the floor to show boundaries, like where to stand during routines or how far to walk. This adds clear visual cues for where their body should be. Teaching an arm's length rule for personal space. Have your child stand with their arm out. This is a helpful way for them to judge a comfortable distance when engaging with others. And the final area of sensory processing that we will focus on today is the area of movement. Many children with autism have a strong need for movement. They might need to bounce, spin, jump, or pace in order to feel calm, focused, or regulated. Others may become overwhelmed by too much movement and need more rest and stillness. To support your child's movement needs, offer movement breaks throughout the day. Things like jumping on a trampoline, swinging, stretching, or going for a walk can help your child release energy and stay regulated. At the same time, make sure to provide quiet time or rest breaks when your child seems tired, overstimulated, or needs a moment to reset. It's also important to allow time for self-stimulatory behaviors, or stimming, like rocking, spinning, or flapping, which many children use to self-regulate. As long as it's safe, stimming can be a healthy and helpful part of how your child manages their sensory and emotional needs. The goal is to help your child find a rhythm that balances movement and rest. Our fourth tip focuses on how to support your child during moments of escalation or challenging behavior. Even when you have the right supports in place, like visual schedules, sensory tools, or communication strategies, challenging moments are still going to happen. That's completely normal. Children with autism face many challenges that can lead to frustration, meltdowns, or shutdowns, not because they're misbehaving, but because of how their brains interpret the world. Loud noises, unpredictable changes, unclear expectations, or even physical discomfort can quickly become overwhelming. During these moments, children may not be able to explain what they're feeling, and they may express it through crying, yelling, running away, or even hitting. These behaviors are a sign that they are in distress, not trying to cause problems. The good news is there are things parents and families can do to help ease that frustrations and keep everyone safe. We'll go over some simple strategies you can use in the moment, like staying calm, using fewer words, offering space, or using calming tools. These moments are tough, but they are also an opportunity to connect with your child and support them through something hard. Let's take a look at how we can do that with care and confidence. Let's watch this video from the Autism Helper. This video shares 5 practical tips for de-escalation, things you can do when your child is upset, overwhelmed, or in the middle of a meltdown. As you watch, pay attention to how each strategy focuses on staying calm, offering choices, and helping your child feel safe in the moment. These are tools that not only help manage behavior, but also build trust and connection over time.
When a student is overwhelmed and escalated, it can be challenging to know how to respond in a way that will help that student calm down and reduce those challenging behaviors in the moment while keeping everyone safe, right? I'm Sasha Long. I'm a former special education teacher and a board-certified behavior analyst, and I'm going to share 5 tips for working with a student who is extremely escalated and helping them work through that challenging time. All right, tip number 1, 2 words, safety and space. Before you do anything, before you get involved, before you talk, your first thought needs to be safety. If the student is engaging in any aggression, extreme disruption, property destruction, eloping, anything like that, your first thought is safety. Because the most important thing is keeping that child and the other kids in your classroom, if you are a teacher, safe. So think about removing other students from the area, removing damaging items, things that they could throw or maybe bang their head on, removing those things. If the student is throwing themselves to the ground, maybe you put some soft pillows there, but you're giving them space. You're in that moment, if there's like that kind of blow up, there's that extreme behavior, you're gonna give them space, but keep them safe. So think of those 2 words, safety and space. Removing other students, we're not yelling, we're not getting involved. That's all we're thinking about first, safety and space. All right, number 2, this is the hard one. You gotta get yourself in check. You gotta get yourself in check first before you do anything else. So we are giving that student space while keeping them safe, but before we get involved, we have to get ourselves in check because sometimes we contribute to the problem by overreacting. We don't want to react here. We want to respond. There's a difference between responding and reacting. A reaction is filled with emotion. A response is thought out. So you want to respond. So take a minute, which feels hard when it's a stressful situation and it could be dangerous or there's extreme behaviors happening. Take a minute, get yourself in check. This is not about you right now. This is about helping that child who is having a really hard time, helping them through this time, helping them through this situation, helping them get through to the other end. That's what this is about right now. This isn't a personal attack on you. This is about right now helping them. So get yourself in check. All right, strategy number 3. We've given them space. We're keeping them safe. We're putting ourselves in check. Now we're going to model calmness. You're going to walk over in a quiet, calm voice. You want to be very aware of your body language. You want to be very aware of your tone of voice. You want to model what you want them to do. If you rush over hyped up with your anxiety and your stress level and all your feelings at an 11 out of 10, that's what they're going to mirror. So keep your voice low. Be aware of your body language, your facial expression, and model calmness. Now, step 4, this is one of my favorites. Now we're gonna offer choices. Oh my gosh, choices are so powerful. And I think it's really important to give choices when someone is escalated or upset. Now, there's a lot of great coping strategies we can teach and offer, but we're not gonna be like, hey, you should go for a walk or you should take deep breaths. We're gonna give choices. I love tools like visual choice boards that give options for what to do. I'm gonna show a few of those in a second because we wanna empower that child to decide how to calm down. When I'm upset, I don't want someone to tell me how to calm down. I wanna give choices. So give some options of things they can do. Hey, do you want to go for a walk? Do you want to stay here? Do you want to get a drink of water? Again, slower than that. I'm going real fast right now. If the student has lower receptive language or struggles with receptive language processing, we'll use those visuals. Let me show you a few examples of those. Here are a few of my favorite visuals for offering choices when someone is escalated, giving these calm down strategies, giving written options, because remember, text is a visual too, offering different calm down tools and having a choice board for that. If you're using something like a social story, again, we can pick a calm down strategy. Here's how I feel and here's what I will do. So lots of things that have options and choices, whether it's visual choices or a written down choice or just a verbal choice, will be helpful with empowering that student to pick a strategy that will work for them. And strategy number 5 is to offer support instead of accusations. While we are still calming down, while we are still in that escalated state, we're not back to regular levels yet, we are not pointing out what they did wrong. Hey, you threw over that bookshelf, you punched Johnny. Now is not the time to highlight the problem. They know likely what negative choices they made and what negative behaviors they engaged in. Now is not the time to point that out. Now is the time to offer support. Especially for our kids that have a history of trauma, we want to show them and tell them that I am still here for you. Even though you engaged in negative behaviors, I am still here for you. Learning and those problem-solving steps will come later, but while we're still escalated, it is not the time for learning. People do not learn when they are in an escalated state. I don't learn when I'm really upset or overwhelmed. Now is the time to show that student that you are there for them. Offer support instead of accusations. All right, those were the 5 tips for helping a student who is overwhelmed and escalated. If you'd like more behavior strategies and behavior tips, please follow my channel for more coming your way.
Let's review the 5 steps from the video one more time. First, stay safe and give space. Keep safety the priority for your child and yourself. Step back and give your child physical space so they don't feel cornered or overwhelmed. 2, check yourself. Take a moment to pause and check in with yourself. Ask, am I calm? Am I connected? And am I caring right now? Your energy can either calm the situation or add to the stress. 3, model calm. Your child is watching you. Show them what calm looks like by keeping your voice, face, and body relaxed. Even if things are intense, your calm presence can be grounding. 4, offer choices. Help your child feel some control by offering simple, clear choices. Use visuals if needed to support understanding and reduce pressure. This can help them feel safe, empowered, and less stuck. 5, offer support, not correction. Now is not the time to talk about what went wrong. Avoid blame or lectures. Instead, offer quiet, non-judgmental support. Save problem solving for later once your child is regulated. The escalation curve is a way to understand how a child's behavior can build over time when they are becoming overwhelmed or upset. It usually follows these general stages. The first, calm. This child is regulated and able to participate or engage. 2 is the trigger. Something happens that causes discomfort or stress. This may not always be visible or understood to those around them. Number 3, agitation. This is likely when behaviors start to occur, like crying, screaming, or injuring self or another. And then 4, acceleration. Behaviors escalate as the child becomes more anxious and frustrated. Finally, the peak or the crisis. This is the peak of the behavior, the meltdown or the outburst. 6 is when de-escalation occurs. This is when the child begins to calm down but may still need space and support. And then 7, recovery. The child is returning to baseline but may feel tired, sensitive, embarrassed, or ashamed. Knowing these stages helps you respond in ways to prevent escalation, stay supportive during crisis, and help your child recover safely without shame or punishment. Now we're going to look at a quick graphic that focuses on something really important: staying calm during challenging moments. As parents and caregivers, we often focus so much on how to help our child calm down, but sometimes the most powerful thing we can do is check in with ourselves first. This graphic is a reminder that our tone, body language, and presence matter. When we stay calm, we help our children feel safer and more supported, even when things feel tough. On the graphic, you'll see that step 1 includes items you can do to remain calm. This could be like walking away and having a drink of water or a snack, counting down, connecting with a friend, like calling or texting someone, asking someone else for help, taking deep breaths, and thinking something positive or fun about your child. The next step is reflection. Think about the feelings and thoughts that have come up during this time. How do you think your child is feeling? What might your child need to prevent the behavior from occurring again? And are you calm enough to reconnect and engage with your child? Step 3 is reconnecting. When you reconnect, you help your child learn new skills. Once you feel calm and your child appears calm, here are a few tips. First off, make sure your child is calm. Has their breathing returned to normal? Are they no longer engaging in challenging behaviors like hitting or trying to run away? Are they still tearful or upset? Acknowledge your feelings and acknowledge theirs as well. Saying things like, I see that not getting a turn makes you angry, or I know that when I say no, you get upset. Then offer some choices. But these are some things that you could do right now. You could play with cars or trains. Let's find a new toy that we could play with, is something else you might say. And then try to have a little bit of time where you are talking and playing with your child. This could also include engaging in their preferred interests. Things like watching a show together, looking at videos together, looking at books together, and talking about the things that you see. The final tip is something so important: knowing where to turn for help. Raising a child with autism can feel overwhelming at times, but the good news is you're not alone. There are many local and online resources that offer support, information, and connection for families just like yours. From early intervention programs and therapy providers to parent support groups, educational materials, and trusted websites, you don't have to figure everything out on your own. Reaching out for help is a strength, not a weakness, and finding the right resources can make a huge difference for your child and your family. When it comes to getting support for your child, knowing where to start can feel overwhelming, but there are strong public services out there that can help. 2 of the most common supports for young children are early intervention, or Sooner Start in the state of Oklahoma, and public school special education services. In Oklahoma, like I said, the early intervention program is called Sooner Start. It's designed for infants and toddlers from birth to their 3rd birthday who may have developmental delays. Sooner Start offers a wide range of services, including support from specialists in child development, therapy, nursing, nutrition, hearing, vision, and more. Anyone who has a concern, a parent, caregiver, or a professional, can make a referral to their local Sooner Start office. One of the most valuable things Sooner Start provides is a smooth transition into public school services when your child turns 3. If your child is already 2.5 years or older, it's often best to go ahead and contact your local public school special education department. Schools can begin services starting at age 3. Parents can call directly to express their concerns and ask to start the process, even if their child hasn't been in Sooner Start. These systems are here to help, so don't be afraid to reach out and ask questions. You know your child best, and your voice matters. In addition to public programs, families can explore outpatient services as well. These may include speech therapy, occupational therapy, physical therapy, and applied behavior analysis, or ABA. These services are often available through private clinics or hospitals and can be a great complement to school-based supports. If you're not sure where to start, your child's pediatrician can help you find providers in your area or make a referral. As stated in the previous slide, if your child is under the age of 3, they may be eligible for early intervention services through Oklahoma's Sooner Start program. If your child is under 2.5 years old and you have concerns about their development, you can make a referral by contacting your county Sooner Start office directly. Referrals can be made by anyone, parents, caregivers, or professionals. Sooner Start provides developmental evaluations, and if your child qualifies, they offer early intervention services in areas like communication, motor skills, and more. One of the biggest benefits to Sooner Start is that they help ensure that smooth transition into the public school services when your child turns 3. And it's important to know you can access Sooner Start alongside private or outpatient services like speech or occupational therapy. These supports can work together to give your child the best possible start. For children ages 3 through 21, support services are available through the public school system under a federal law called IDEA, the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act. If you have concerns about your child's development, learning, or behavior, you can contact your local public school special education department and request an evaluation. This evaluation helps determine if your child is eligible for special education services. It's important to know that the school's role is not to provide a diagnosis, but to identify whether your child qualifies for support based on an educational need. A medical diagnosis is not required to access these services. If your child is found eligible, services such as speech, occupational therapy, or specialized instruction are provided by the school and funded by the school. You can also access private or outpatient services alongside school-based support. These can work together to meet your child's full range of needs at home and in the classroom. There are several types of professionals who may be a part of your child's support team. Here's a quick review of what each service focuses on. First, psychology or psychiatry. These professionals help with emotional, behavioral, and mental health needs. Psychiatrists can also prescribe and manage medications when appropriate. Speech-language pathology. Speech-language pathologists, often called speech therapists, support communication skills, including understanding and using language, social interaction, and speech clarity. Occupational therapy, or OT. OTs help children develop everyday skills like using their hands, managing clothing, eating, playing, or tolerating sensory input. Physical therapy, or PT. Physical therapists focus on helping children build strength, balance, and coordination for things like walking, climbing, or playing safely. Applied behavior analysis, or ABA. ABA therapists, often referred to as BCBAs, BCABAs, or RBTs, use structured therapy techniques to help children build skills and reduce behaviors that interfere with learning or daily life. And counseling. Counseling provides emotional support that helps children learn coping skills, manage feelings, and work through challenges in a safe and supportive setting. When it comes to medical-based services like speech therapy, occupational therapy, or counseling, there are a few things to keep in mind. These services often require a referral from your child's physician to get started, and in order for them to be deemed as medically necessary for your insurance to be able to pay for them. If you're seeking a formal diagnosis, only a physician or licensed psychologist can provide that. Typically, outpatient services are billed through your health insurance, just like other medical appointments. Families are responsible for any copays or deductibles. You do not need an autism diagnosis to access most intervention services like speech or occupational therapy. The only exception is applied behavior analysis, or ABA, which usually does require an autism diagnosis for insurance coverage. Understanding the process ahead of time can help you feel more prepared when reaching out for support. If you're looking for local providers, whether for an evaluation, therapy, or other autism-related service, an updated provider list is available through the Oklahoma Autism Network. They keep a current list of professionals and clinics across the state, and it's a great place to start when you're not sure where to turn. You can visit their website or contact them directly for more information. If you are noticing early signs of autism or just starting to have questions about your child's development, there are several helpful screening and identification resources you can turn to. One great starting point is the CDC's Learn the Signs, Act Early campaign. It provides easy to understand developmental milestones and tools to help track your child's growth. Autism Speaks also offers First Concern to Action Toolkit, which walks families through what to do if you're noticing early signs, how to talk to your pediatrician, and where to go next. For screening, many professionals use the MChat, a free online tool designed for children 16 to 30 months. It helps identify early signs of autism and can be shared with your doctor. Here in Oklahoma, the Oklahoma Autism Center's Early Access Program supports families through the screening and referral process and can help connect you to early intervention services. These resources can give you clarity and confidence as you take the next step in supporting your child's development. Here is a valuable list of resources that are here in the state of Oklahoma. First, the organization bringing you this training, the Autism Foundation of Oklahoma, or AFO. The mission of AFO is to improve the quality of life for Oklahomans with autism and their families. They work across many areas to create meaningful change through advocacy, raising awareness, supporting early childhood development, and leading public health and safety efforts. They're also involved in workforce development to help create more inclusive job opportunities and in criminal justice reform to better support individuals with autism across different systems. AFO is doing powerful work to make Oklahoma a more supportive and inclusive place for individuals on the spectrum and the families who love them. The second there is the Oklahoma Autism Network. This is another key support for families across the state. It is dedicated to improving the quality of life for individuals with autism and their families. The network does this through a strong focus on research, education, and direct services, all while respecting each person's unique preferences and promoting inclusion within the community. Their website includes a provider directory, and they host the annual Autism Statewide Conference. Number 3, the Oklahoma Family Network, or OFN, is a wonderful resource for families of children with special health care needs or disabilities. Their mission is to inform and connect families, individuals, and professionals to the services and support available in their communities. Whether you're looking for guidance, local resources, or someone who understands what you're going through, OFN can help you navigate the system and find the support you need right here in Oklahoma. Autism Oklahoma is a community-focused organization that helps families connect, grow, and thrive. They create unique experiences for children, teens, and adults with autism, helping them discover their talents, build confidence, and feel a sense of belonging. Autism Oklahoma also works with communities across the state to promote understanding and embrace differences, making the world more welcoming and inclusive for individuals on the spectrum. It's a great place to find support, connection, and opportunities to celebrate each child's unique strengths. The ARC of Oklahoma is a nonprofit organization that supports individuals with intellectual and developmental disabilities, including autism. They provide information, advocacy, and support to help people of all ages live full, inclusive lives at home, at school, at work, and in the community. Their programs cover a wide range of needs, including family support, self-advocacy, grief support, and rights protection. The ARC is dedicated to making sure every Oklahoman with a developmental disability has access to the resources and opportunities they deserve. And finally, Sooner Success. This organization helps families of children with special health care needs by connecting them to local health, social, and educational services. They work closely with both public and private organizations to make sure families have access to a coordinated support system right in their own communities. Their goal is to make navigating services easier so families feel supported, informed, and empowered. In addition to local supports, there are several national and online resources that provide trusted information, training, and tools for families navigating autism. Here are 4 widely used and respected organizations. First, Autism Navigator. This is an online resource that offers video-based courses and tools for families and professionals. It's especially helpful for understanding early signs of autism and learning how to support young children in everyday routines. Next, Vanderbilt Kennedy Triad. Triad is the Treatment and Research Institute for Autism Spectrum Disorders. And this is the autism program at the Vanderbilt Kennedy Center. It provides research-based training, education, and resources for families, educators, and healthcare providers with a strong focus on practical strategies for support at home and in the community. Third, Autism Internet Modules, or AIM. This is a free, self-paced online learning about autism. Each module covers specific topics like communication, behavior, or social skills, and is designed for families, teachers, and support teams working with individuals on the spectrum. And finally, Autism Speaks. This is a national organization that provides a wide range of toolkits, advocacy efforts, and resource guides. Families can use their website to locate local services, learn about autism, and access step-by-step guides, like the First Concern to Action Toolkit. Before we close, we want to make sure you leave with a tool that can truly make a difference. On this slide, you'll see a QR code that links to the Autism Foundation of Oklahoma's statewide resource guide. This guide is an invaluable resource for families across the state. It includes supports for children, youth, young adults, and caregivers, covering everything from government programs and educational services to family support. It was created to help you navigate the autism journey with more confidence and clarity, no matter where you are in Oklahoma. Please take a moment to scan the QR code with your phone to explore the guide and save it for future reference. As we wrap up, let's take a moment to highlight the key points we've covered in this training. We talked about the characteristics of autism and how they can show up differently in every child. We introduced the ideas of neurodiversity and self-determination, helping us see autism as a natural part of who a child is, not something to fix, but something to understand and support. You learned practical tips for supporting your child at home, like using visual supports, understanding sensory processing, and knowing how to respond during escalation or challenging moments. We also covered how to access services and resources, both in Oklahoma and online. Most importantly, we hope this training reminded you that you're not alone. Whether you're just beginning the journey or looking for new ways to support your child, there are people, tools, and communities here to help. We truly hope you're leaving today feeling encouraged, empowered, and supported as you move forward, one step at a time. You know your child best, and your love and advocacy make all the difference. Thank you so much for being here today.